Just mowed down 12 acres of hay, and yeah, crap. Well, here's my temporary patch. So there was a stupid gate that I had to go through into my final field for the night. My last little field, my last acre, and the gate was really tight, and I needed to move a fence post in order to open the gate all the way up. Well, I was supposed to do that a while ago. I never did because I thought I was gonna need my loader tractor. Well, it broke down. Turns out I was actually able to get it out by hand, but that was after I rubbed up against the fence post trying to fit through the freaking gate. Well, I thought that I didn't ruin anything on the tire because I remember hitting the fence post, then getting out and checking the tire, and we were clear. But apparently I missed this, and I mowed the whole field before realizing I did this to the tire. Now the tire was still holding air, so I was like, I'm gonna drive home on it, and I did. I drove home on it. It was fine. Nothing happened to it, and the tire is still holding air. But that big old flap of rubber could end up ripping off if I don't do something about it. So we're gonna give this a shot and hopefully just glue this back on so it's not flapping around. Just call me a tire doctor. I'm 100% kidding. I have no idea if that's fixed or not. I just hope that that sets and, you know, it'll just stay for a couple hours or so. Well, my patch is holding. Sort of. I went to a tire place this morning, a used tire place, and found an 18 4x38 tire used. Got some cracking in it, but some tread. I went up there, bought it. They gotta take it off the rim. I'll go get it tomorrow, and then we'll get that tire put on. I don't like running on that tire like that because like the cords are showing. That's a weak spot on that tire now, and I just don't want to be running on it all the time. So we'll get that used tire put on there, and then maybe sometime this year we'll put 2 new Galaxy tires on or something. They're just cheap tires, but we're only making hay with that tractor, so it's not like I need to put trailer boards or something fancy on there. First time cutting this hay field, pretty nice hay field. The problem I was having there was a lot of this stuff was lodged, and when it lodges like this, it basically kind of kills itself because it gets crimped at the bottom. So it started shooting up new shoots already. So there's a lot of good hay in here, a lot of good hay, but a lot of lodging. So yeah, kind of lost some yield in that. But it's already sending up new shoots, so it probably won't be too long before this is a nice lush hay field again. It'll grow back pretty quick. I just mowed a custom job here this morning, about 8 acres of grass hay. Now I just hooked up the tedder. We're gonna go down the road, ted everything that we've mowed the last couple days, and we'll finish up here in the field I just mowed. I found something cool. Oh man. Dang, that would have been a nice shed. This hay does have a lot of weeds in it. It's got a lot of this stupid plantain stuff, but there is a fair amount of grass. There's also a good bit of clover in here as well. So this hay is gonna go towards making like hobby horse feed, goat feed. This stuff will probably be like $5 a bale, nothing too crazy. The stuff that I tedded earlier, that has a lot more grass in it, a lot less weeds. So that stuff's gonna be closer to $6 a bale. This stuff here will probably be like $5. But it's good to have kind of a variation in what I sell. That way I can supply a lot of different people. Here's the plan. It's currently Thursday evening. It's 5 o'clock. I've got a couple things I got to do. I got to get the baler hooked up. The rake is hooked up. We're going to fuel up the tractors, get them ready to go for baling. We got 2 good days of baling tomorrow and Saturday. I've got 8 acres of nice grass hay right behind the barn here, but it's light stuff, so it would probably go tomorrow as far as baling. So my plan is I'm going to bale that stuff first tomorrow, hopefully, if it's dry enough, which it should be. Then we're going to move down the road about 2 miles. We've got 11 acres of grass hay down there. Cut up in, you know, some pastures and fields. That stuff, there's some really nice heavy stuff and there's some lighter stuff that's got weeds in it. So I want to try to get the lighter stuff baled up tomorrow, and then we'll just leave the equipment sit down there, and then we'll bale the heavy stuff Friday. And then on our way back to the farm here, we've got about 4 acres of alfalfa light orchard hay. that we'll do as well on the way back. I'm gonna let that go till Saturday just because alfalfa stems, you know, it's hard to dry that stuff down, and it's relatively heavy crop. So that's the plan. It's kind of gonna be a circle that we're gonna do here. I debated maybe baling some tonight because there's some light hay that would probably go tonight, but it's just to get everything hooked up, moved down there, raked up, baled, and then only back here, it's gonna be dark and I might do like 50 bales. So it's really not worth it for me. Just gonna take an early day, and then tomorrow when I know I have help, we'll get into baling and get that stuff knocked out. So that's the plan today. Not today, tomorrow. That's the plan. That's not good. I'm so sick of this rake breaking on me. I mean, it's not like it can help it, and it's just how things go. It's farming, but it's just frustrating that this rake is the thing that keeps holding me up. You think it'd be something like the disc bind or the baler, but no, it's the rake. That's what keeps holding me up, and it's always at the worst time. I get my stuff done at home, and as soon as I start to rake something else, something breaks. What happened? This just broke right here, snapped off like that. Now the stupid thing is, this threaded piece down here that goes into here, it's part of the whole cylinder. I can't just get a new threaded piece. So you gotta get this whole new cylinder. You wanna know how much it costs for like this threaded piece and just this? Not even this, just the cylinder? $1,700. They want $1,700 freaking dollars for this little piece right here. There is no way that I'm paying that much money for that stupid little cylinder. What has our world come to that they're gonna charge $1,700 for a tiny little cylinder? This rake is worth $7,000. And you're telling me you're gonna charge $1,700 just for the cylinder? I love farming, but that right there is the problem with this industry.
He raked most of the day, right? And then I came over around 3 o'clock and I finished raking. And then he was bailing behind me. And now we're here doing the last field of the night.
10 o'clock in the morning, we're out here moving wagons around. This hay I raked yesterday and I didn't get it baled, but it's decent stuff. We're gonna get this stuff flipped over here so it can dry. Eli's actually working on the rake right now. This morning I ran out and took the part off the rake, and now he's welding it back together. And as soon as he gets that fixed, we'll slap it on the rake so he can get raking. It's pretty decent hay down in the bottom here. It's just this kind of creek bottom, 1.5 acres down here. Brought the small wagon down here, so as soon as he flips it over and that sun does its job, we can get to baling. I got about 5 or so acres of grass hay left in some small patches, and then 3.5, 4 acres of alfalfa grass, and that stuff is real beautiful hay. So I think in total we have about what is that? What's the math on that? I can't do math. 4.5, 8 acres, 8, 9 acres. So it shouldn't be a too terrible day. Yesterday we did about 12 acres, so we should easily be able to do that today. All right, let's give y'all a little update. Oh, I'm running through the yard. Look at me, I am a flustered mess right now. We had a wagon and a half of hay from last night. Let me put my window up so y'all can hear me. Dad and I unloaded the half wagon this morning, and then the neighbor wanted some hay, so we took some hay up to the neighbor, a whole wagon. That whole big wagon we took up to the neighbor. which worked out. We were able to make a little money, and you know, it's less stacking and unstacking and loading that we have to do in the barn. So we did that. Well, the case is, you know, we're having a heck of a time here with the case. We're having some fuel issues. I think the float is stuck. So I grabbed some sea foam, tapped on the carburetor a bunch, and now we're gonna get out here and start raking. Eli's gonna rake. Hopefully nothing goes bad today. Update. Infield carb rebuild.
Carb clean, not rebuild.
Carb clean, my bad. Shows what I know. So I pull into the field here, and he was still kind of having sputtering issues. I just happen to have a lot of tools in the truck, and he happens to have the expertise fix it. He knows what he's looking at as far as the carburetor, because he rebuilt it before. So I just stood there and plugged the line. I had the important job. Not really, he had the important job. I'm gonna buy him dinner if this fixed it. We completely took the carburetor apart. There was a little piece of gunk in one of the jets that could have been the problem. There was also a gasket in there that looks like it's kind of pretty destroyed, so that could also be part of the problem, but hoping that at least that little piece of gunk that was in the jet is the main problem. He's running right now. So far, no problems. Hopefully it works and he can keep on raking. This is some gorgeous hay though. I mean, I tell you what, this is perfectly cured, dry, green orchard grass. And we get out into the middle of the field here, and there is some exceptional looking alfalfa. Like, it's super dry, but oh my goodness, that is gonna make some gorgeous hay. Well, rake's fixed. Baler's hooked up, ready to go. Eli got the alfalfa raked. Tractor's running like a dream. And he's gonna hook up this thing and he's gonna finish up raking. We're wrapping up baling for the day. We have got a ton of grass hay baled up. Now we're in our last field. This is a gorgeous alfalfa grass field. There's a lot more alfalfa in here though. Hopefully it'll fit on 2 wagons and we're gonna be done for the day. Silly me, I forgot to check the bale counter before I came into this field. So I don't have an exact number of what's on that wagon there, which I'm kind of annoyed about, but I can judge it around, I'm gonna say 125 to 130 bales. This is our smaller wagon, so I'm gonna say somewhere around the 120 to 130 mark. But let's just take a second to admire this hay. It did get a little bit dry on me, so that's why a lot of this leaf is really fine. But it is loaded with alfalfa leaves, like, oh my word. This, I had a bale bust apart on me because it hit the rack and went boom. But it is just super pretty hay. And there's orchard grass in here too. There's a trace of orchard grass. But look at all this. This actually really hurt our yield because look at how many leaves are here and look how much stem was left. That's kind of a frustrating thing to see, but that's the reality of making hay in really humid climates where you don't really have a whole lot of control over everything. We have to normally let stuff dry or sit out in the field a day longer than we would love to, and we have to ted things sometimes twice. This stuff I only tedded once to try to preserve leaf, and it definitely worked. We have a lot in the bale, but even when you ted it and you spread it out and you let it sit out there for 2 days to dry, you lose a lot of leaves. So it's the unfortunate reality of making hay here in Pennsylvania and a lot of other places as well. First cutting, I am incredibly pleased with this hay. Really soft right there. Really soft. But the good old case will do it. Good old case will do it. Didn't even try to get stuck. Man, that doesn't make for good YouTube videos. We had an incident. This one's my fault. I decided to go higher with the stack. Dad said we should have gone more out in the base, and I should have listened to him. So yeah, went super high, and we lost a whole corner of the hay here. And this is what I gotta clean up. Before I clean it though, let's take a quick look at the hay barn and what we got. This all here is first cutting meadow grass. This is what meadow grass looks like. It's not the highest quality hay because you get some stemmier grasses, maybe some weeds, some grasses that you may not want in the hay. But overall, this is still really nice grass hay and makes incredible hobby horse and pleasure horse feed. The reason being is, you know, pleasure horse, hobby horses, they may not be as picky, or, you know, they may not have as strict dietary restrictions or regulations. When you get into race horses and maybe those thoroughbreds, really high-end horses, they may have a very strict diet, or, you know, the owners might want to feed them the highest quality hay. With pleasure horses, if you just got a pet horse, this hay feeds phenomenally. It's really soft because it's meadow grass, so it's just really soft. It's not really it's not thick stemmed hay. It's really soft stemmed hay. Second cutting will be even softer. And so some horses, you know, don't like stemmy hay. They may have like soft mouths or something, and so soft hay goes a long way for that. But the big reason why this is good hay for pleasure horse or hobby horse is it's just cheaper. This particular stack of hay behind me ranges from $5 to $6 a bale. There is some $5 hay on the very bottom in the back corner that has more weeds, but the majority of this is, you know, 80-90% grass, 10% weed. It is spray free. So those factors all play into, you know, hobby horse and that sort of stuff. Again, it's just cheaper, and that's the big reason why it makes good hobby horse feed. On this side of the barn though, this is the high-end hay that we got so far. You can see it's a lot greener. It's visually a lot more appealing, and it's, you know, overall it is a much higher end hay. This hay is orchard grass alfalfa, meaning there is two types of forages in here. Orchard grass, and somewhere in here there is alfalfa. There's some alfalfa leaf right in there. This particular hay here came off of our field out there, and this hay here, which is orchard alfalfa but heavier on the alfalfa, came from a field down the road. This hay is particularly made for the high-end horse. We take care of the fields, we take care of the weeds, we fertilize it. We want to make sure that we're making a high-end product that is for the high-end horse market. Now, this particular hay here is all first cutting. First cutting is naturally going to be stemmier, a little bit thicker. You're going to have seed heads and that sort of thing. And because of that, it's going to be a little bit cheaper than, say, second cutting, third cutting, and fourth cutting. The reason being, again, is you get seed heads, it's stemmier, and it also, because of that, it's not as soft. Now, there are horse farmers out there that, you know, do not feed first cutting. It's just they don't do it at all because, you know, it's not soft or it's not as high nutritional value. But there are some horse farmers out there that only like to feed first cutting or feed a lot of first cutting because they know they can get it cheaper. This hay here, there was nothing wrong with this hay. It is very high quality hay, but it is first cutting. So that can be a deterrent for some people. However, with this being first cutting, it is still going for $7.50 a bale if you want it delivered. If you want it cheaper, you can come to my barn directly and pick it up for $7 a bale. The reason the price is different is because of labor. And in today's day and age, nothing is cheap, and you have to factor in everything in your cost. So $7 a bale at my barn, $7.50 if you want it delivered. And then when second and third and fourth cutting comes along, prices will increase anywhere from 50 cents to $1, depending on the quality of the hay. Now, this barn here, you can see how much hay we got in it so far. We're not even done first cutting. We still have 10 more acres of really thick grass hay that's gonna get stacked over here somewhere. This is just, you know, we're gonna have so much hay here this year. I don't know where I'm gonna put it. We're probably gonna end up stacking more of this stuff out here right there, just because I'm running out of room. I'm really running out of room. So I don't know where I'm gonna put it all, but we're gonna find somewhere.